Sri Shankar Maharaj, Chapter 55. The Gift of Eight Supernatural Powers. Sri Sadguru Shankar Maharaj had blessed Dr. Ganeshwar's mother and promised that she would give birth to a divine learned boy and he would be well educated. The child born was Dr. Nagesh Ganeshwar. In his childhood, he accompanied his friend every day. They sat under an audumbar tree near a stream to recite Vishnu Sahasranam and Haripath. Once, while the recitation was going on, a tall fakir appeared in front of the child, Nagesh. The fakir gave divine vision of huge form of Lord Hanuman in his place. The fakir taught child Nagesh the divine knowledge of Ramkati and disappeared. By due course of time, the child got the degree of MBBS with a first class distinction and became Dr. Nagesh Ghaneshwar. On his visit to Daund, he met Sri Shankar Maharaj at the house of the station master of Daund. At that meeting, Maharaj said, I know you from before. Do you remember Ramkati? These words reminded Dr. Ganeshwar about the stream, Audumbar tree, fakir, divine vision of huge form of Lord Hanuman, and the divine knowledge of Ramkati. So Dr. Ganeshwar bowed at Maharaj's feet and paid homage with love and affection. Maharaj blessed him by keeping his hand on his head. Dr. Ghaneshwar opened a clinic in Nagar by the grace of Sri Shankar Maharaj. Maharaj daily visited his clinic. The patients felt awed about Maharaj. They thought he was an illiterate villager sitting in the clinic with his legs on the bench. So they complained to Dr. Ghaneshwar and requested him to remove Maharaj from the clinic. On that, Dr. Ghaneshwar replied, Oh no, he is my great guru, Sri Sadguru Shankar Maharaj. My practice of medicine is successful only because he comes and sits in the clinic. What I earn is only by his grace. The cure by my medicine is only by his blessings. I have faith in him. Dr. Ganeshwar's faith and worship of Sri Shankar Maharaj grew day by day. The following incident was narrated by late Dr. Anant Deshmukh, trustee of Sri Swami Samarth Mutt, Dadar, and by late Manorama Sahasrabuddhe. One day, the most important moment of Dr. Ganeshwar's life came. Sri Shankar Maharaj wanted to give some supreme gift to him. It was the market day. Maharaj stepped in the clinic and ordered Dr. Ganeshwar, Go to the brothel area outside the village. A prostitute by the name Shantabai lives there. She is a great devotee of Sri Swami Samarth. Catch hold of her hand and bring her to me through the market area. I am waiting for you in the clinic. Dr. Ganeshwar knew the truth that the real ascetics' acts are always unpractical. So, without caring about the consequences, he obeyed accordingly. He searched for Shantabai's place in the brothel area. On reaching there, he called her and informed her that she had been called by Sri Shankar Maharaj. Shantabai, without asking a question, rushed with a small tin of kumkum, that is holy red powder offered to God. Dr. Ganeshwar held our hand and moved towards the clinic. They passed through the market area, which was pretty crowded. Dr. Ganeshwar could not escape from the sight of the people whom he knew. People started teasing him for being with a prostitute by holding her hand. People started gossiping. We came to know today that Dr. Ganeshwar is having an affair with a prostitute. Without bothering about people, they reached the clinic where Sri Shankar Maharaj was waiting for them. Maharaj made them sit in the clinic and closed the doors of the clinic. Dr. Ganeshwar and Shantabai bowed at Maharaj's feet. Maharaj blessed Dr. Ganeshwar and offered him with the great knowledge of 8 supernatural powers. Maharaj also blessed Shantabai and offered the gift of her faith and worship of her Guru. Both of them were overwhelmed. After this, Dr. Ganeshwar boldly asked, Maharaj, you have blessed me with the great knowledge of 8 supernatural powers. Today is the greatest day of my life, which I will never forget. I am overwhelmed with joy. But from tomorrow, I will not be able to run my clinic because people in the village are teasing me. Maharaj immediately replied, "Oh, my child, you had teased a number of people in your previous life. The sins of teasings had to be demolished. I have only passed the sin of teasings to the people because it was preventing you from being a righteous and an innocent person. Now I have freed you from the sin. So, from today, take great care of what you have acquired from me and never tease anyone. And don't worry about your practice of medicine. I have gifted you the supernatural power of divine touch with which you can cure people only by your touch or sight. From today, don't use medicines on your patients." Once on a visit to Vruddeshwar, Sri Shankar Maharaj gave the chance to Dr. Ghaneshwar to hear the divine heavenly music from a Shivalinga. With prior information, Maharaj gave him the divine vision of Saint Meenanath, who had taken Samadhi hundreds of years ago. Once, when the governor Sri Chunilal Mehta and Mr. Ashar Bhai was sitting with Maharaj, Dr. Ghaneshwar entered the room. Maharaj immediately said, "My enemy has come." This statement made Dr. Ghaneshwar very unhappy. Maharaj sensed his grief and persuaded him by saying, "My child, the person who understands me and knows my facets is my enemy and is always near to me." This explanation overjoyed Dr. Ghaneshwar. Once, Dr. Ghaneshwar and his friend Dr. Sati were deeply engrossed in their conversation. Dr. Sati asked, "Did Saint Dhyaneshwar really move the wall?" Dr. Ghaneshwar meditated and thought of Sri Shankar Maharaj. He recited some of the lines from the book of Dhyaneshwari, that is a holy religious book written by Saint Dhyaneshwar. At that very moment, Dr. Ghaneshwar made the cupboard from his house moved 12 feet away from its place. Dr. Sati was amazed and could not believe his eyes. He immediately caught hold of Dr. Ganesh's feet and said, "You are very great, and your Guru Sri Shankar Maharaj is the greatest of all. Jai Shankar Maharaj."